People are telling lies about artists, and it's pissing me off. Some of these lies have kept me from making art for years. So today, as I unbox some of my amazing books, because I don't know if you can tell, but I finally moved into a new place, I thought we could maybe put some of these lies to rest, kick them in the nuts, in the proverbial nuts, and yeah, have a little discussion. So without further ado, here are 6 things that I wish I'd known as a beginner artist. The first thing is that artists are normal people. There's this weird aura around artists. Either they're massive losers who like live in squalor, don't make any money, are mentally ill and all that stuff, or they're absolute geniuses. They're out of this world. They're like almost a different size of human than us regular mortals are. It's as if we think that artists are touched by God, touched by the divine, that they were born with this incredible gift and, you know, they'll just always be above the pack as a result. So here's the real thing that I need you to hear right now. Artists are regular people. I don't know, it seems like many of us don't know this, but yeah, artists are regular people with work, with family, some discipline perhaps to work on their craft, but at the end of the day, creating is also a job, and so maybe we can retire this idea that artists are deeply other. Because if artists are regular people, then that means that regular people can be artists. This was one of my course books. When I studied abroad in Canada, I had an amazing fairy tale class. And this book is a really good anthology where it kind of gives you a lot of different versions of the fairy tales we know. It's super interesting because each version will very much depend on the time period and the geography, the values of the time. So this is a super fun book to refer back to. The second thing I wish I'd known as a beginner artist is that I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable calling myself an artist. This one is a little sad maybe, but the thing is, unless you go to art school, until or unless you're able to take your art professionally, it's very difficult to call yourself an artist. And I actually I've been stewing with this idea of the artist label, and I will make an in-depth video about it because I have lots of thoughts. But at the end of the day, you know what? Calling yourself an artist is a very difficult thing to do because it feels like, oh, there's a spider. Hello. It feels like you're calling yourself special because of what we just said before, this deep belief that artists are separate, that they're different, that they're more special than regular people. So calling yourself an artist by default feels like, ooh, I think I'm so special. So yes, I actually do consider myself an artist nowadays. It still feels icky and embarrassing to say, absolutely. It feels more icky in French than it does in English. That's interesting. But also, it doesn't really matter whether or not you call yourself an artist. At the end of the day, claiming that term is something that can help you make more time for your practice and things like that, but it's also not necessary. You can easily make art without calling yourself an artist. It's not that deep. Now, in a similar vein, you'll feel like a beginner artist for a long time. I think it takes a long time to feel like you're no longer brand new at what you do. Even calling yourself intermediate is like, ooh, that's ballsy. You can take comfort in the fact that even professional artists, even people who have been working their job for years and years, they're still learning every day. So it's fine to feel like a beginner most of the time, because that's the kind of mindset that keeps you fresh, keeps you humble, and therefore keeps you learning. So it may feel uncomfortable for a long time, but that's okay because, sorry to say this to you, but I think art making stays uncomfortable kind of most of the time. You're always kind of stretching yourself in new directions. So really, it's a sign that you're doing something right. Also, feeling like a beginner could be because you keep trying new things. And that is really good, because whenever you try something new, that always adds to whatever your main practice is, if you have a main practice. So, you know, feeling like a beginner is not a bad thing. If anything, it keeps you going and wanting to get to the next level. Yay. Next box. Where's the magic stuff? This was also in my boxes, and look, I know I'm an adult, I shouldn't be buying toys, but this isn't just any toy. This is the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter, and it's beautiful. Another thing that I wish I'd known as a beginner artist to just feel a bit less intimidated at the prospect of trying to do art is that the second you put in 10% more effort than the average person, people are going to call you talented. Grimm Brothers Tales, as rewritten by Philip Pullman, with really weird illustrations like ceramics. Super cool. The thing that many people don't realize, dare I say most people don't realize, is that any skill is up for grabs. It just takes a little bit of learning, a little bit of effort in order to achieve a basic level of competence into something. And I don't think this is specific to art. I think it's just how skills work. But with art, because again, we have this tendency to think that artists are special and they've been gifted at birth by the fairy godmother or actual god with like some crazy competence that no mortal could have, people are very happy to say, you're very talented, and kind of dismiss your work as a result. But that also means, on the flip side, that the second you work a little bit, you'll actually reach a much higher level that most people have. Oh, I'm seeing a book that I've been dying to take out of the box. Yes! It's my magic book, History of Magic, Witchcraft, and the Occult. You're too far. This is freaking gorgeous. Oh, I can't wait to dip back into this and just get all the inspo. I don't know, maybe I'm being unreasonable, kind of taking it like, not an insult, but like, I am a little bit offended when people tell me I'm talented when I show them my artwork. It's nice, right? It's a compliment. I should just say thanks and move on, but it just feels dismissive of all the work that I've put in to get there. But also maybe I just need to accept that maybe I am also talented. Maybe both things are true. Maybe I put in the work and also I'm good at what I do. I don't know. By the way, this is a Catalan book all about the local creatures in Catalonia. I mostly got it for the pictures. The fifth thing that I wish I knew as a beginner artist is that sketchbooks aren't the end-all be-all. This one is weird because there's this culture online of sharing your sketchbook, doing sketchbook tours, showing off like your completed sketchbook, whatever, like all kinds of very intense sketchbook focused art content. It seems like every artist not only has sketchbooks, but freaking completes them, right? Or at least really wants to. I think it's fine that I started out playing around with sketchbooks, but it turns out they're not really my thing. And that's also to do with the fact that not every artist is going to draw or paint, right? Like, sketchbooks are very specific to one kind of artist, right? The kind of people who work with pens, pencils, and brushes. There's many more kinds of artists that could use many more mediums. But because the sketchbook is so ubiquitous, it seems almost like if you don't have one, are you even a real artist? Personally, the way I use them now is a place that I can return to see what kind of ideas I brainstormed before. And I know like a lot of you are gonna say, that's the point of sketchbooks. But the way that artists online showcase their sketchbooks, it doesn't seem like we're talking about the same thing. They're showing like essentially like finished works. Every page, every spread is beautiful, and that's a lot of pressure. So now my sketchbooks, maybe I can grab it. Okay, so my sketchbook nowadays is this nice little thing. And I mostly brainstorm in pencil, write down ideas, whatever like comments I make so I can refer back and like iterate on my ideas, figure out what works, what doesn't work. And yeah, most of it is not pretty. Let me see what else I can show you. Just very quick, ugly sketches. And I do have some pages that are pretty nice, I would say, right? Like this guy that I painted from a trip I took to Andalusia. Like it's still, I mean, these pages are especially pleasing because I was studying Uletinel's work and she's fucking wonderful. Anyway, all that to say, like, I often don't want to pick up my sketchbook because I feel like I need to make all these crazy, beautiful spreads. And actually, it's not really my vibe. It's not really my vibe. If you don't like sketchbooks, or if you don't find yourself using a sketchbook that you bought, leave it. It's fine. Use scrap pieces of paper. Use your phone. If you have a tablet, use that. It's fine. You don't need a sketchbook. I'm kind of losing the plot here. I forgot I needed to put stuff on the shelves. Okay, more books. Ooh, I have a box called Chunky Books. Hold on. My lower back is working out. Whoop, putain. Stay with me, buddy. Yeah. The last thing I wish I'd known as a beginner artist is that crafts count as art if you want them to. I don't know why this seems to be controversial. Not controversial, I don't think many people would dispute it that much, but like, I feel like a lot of artists call themselves, what crafters? DIYers, especially lots of women who do fiber art. I just feel like this tendency to call crafts an entirely separate thing. When is it? Like, is it actually entirely different from creating visual pieces using paint? Like, if you're crocheting, is that really entirely different? I honestly don't think so. If you know, you know. Boop. I was gonna stop here, but I want to give you a little bonus one. I still have many more ideas, but I feel like maybe I should make a separate video for the other things that I kind of learned along the way. But I do want to tell you one more thing that I learned, because that one is super applicable and it really does make a difference in your work day to day. Here it is. You make the most progress in your art when you allow yourself to make really shitty drawings. If you don't allow yourself to explore an idea, to iterate, try different versions of it, change up the composition, change up the color, try adding elements or taking away elements, then you're gonna come up with an idea, and your first idea will be the one that you take to the very end, to completion, to the finished piece. But the thing about first ideas is that they're first drafts. Like, why do we call first drafts first drafts? It's because that's the first idea we have. It's usually not the best. Whenever you can allow yourself time and also grace to retry a few things, reconfigure a few things, that's when you'll get somewhere really interesting. But that's why you need to let yourself make bad drawings and bad sketches. They need to look really messy and terrible, because otherwise you'll have this perfectionistic tendency to finish the work, and that's not the point of iteration. The point of iteration is to try something else, to see how it unfolds. I definitely have done this many, many times where I had an idea and I ran with it, and at the end of the day, the idea wasn't great. The execution wasn't great either, because I was a beginner. I still want to call myself a beginner because in many ways, I still am. But, you know, if I could at least have refined the idea to begin with, I think it doesn't matter as much what the result of the execution is, as long as the idea is really strong. So that's something to bear in mind. That's as far as I'm going to go for today. I think we did some pretty good progress on my shelves. There's a little bit of magic, there's a little bit of random other topics too, but it's definitely really nice to have my books back on the shelf. I don't know about you, but I feel like books are what makes a home. So thank you for keeping me company while I unboxed just some of my books. Like I said before, I have lots more thoughts and lots more things to say about this, but I feel like this video is too long. So let me know if you want a part 2 in the comments, and also let me know what you have learned as an artist. Even if you're not someone with a lot of experience, what is it that you have learned that you wish you'd known when you started? On that note, I'll see you next time. Bye!